So tell me the recording, the recording is going to go to your phone, right? I hope you have enough space or to your tablets. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I'm using my
Okay.
phone.
Okay, I hope you have enough space. Have you made me host or is there really any need, Seth?
I've made it the host, ma'am.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, so we couldn't figure out how to block the participants, yeah?
No, ma'am. I didn't see anything on that.
We'll figure it out, no problem. Thank you. Host tools. Oh, so I'm the one. Oh, wait, though. Now,
Is
where will
the
this be recording to?
I don't know, since it's showing host, I think it's the host that would record it.
Do you have cloud?
My iCloud storage is full.
Okay, so this recording may be neither here nor there. I think you can stop the record. Oh, I'm host there. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Leonard Silk, good afternoon, sir.
I guess this is 3 o'clock on the dot.
It's
Uchenna, how are you?
Indeed.
Yes, sir.
I'm fine. How are you, sir?
Are we starting by 3? Exactly. Or we need to give it some more time?
Would like
Let's
to
just
wait
give it a
for
few minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
I have to get the regulations from the last letter. And I have to come with person.
Okay. Yeah, they said I have to come in person, right?
Now I'm faster.
Mr. Noswazi.
Let's say, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Anna. How are you?
I am good, sir. Emana, nnukwu mmọnwụ pụtara ọgbọ, onye ọbụla must attend. I agree to sir.
The mother is in the building.
Uchenna, what did you say?
I'm happy to see you on the call. I know this one will interest you. I say my brother is here. I know this one will interest him.
Oh, okay. Noso is one of my people.
No,
Eh?
Uche Nama water.
Noso is one of my people.
Every matter of the topic interesting me. It's about it's about you. I want water on the extent of involvement.
Wait,
Yeah.
both ways. So the person
But Uchenna,
and the
I think
topic, both ways.
Noso has gone further than you.
Leonard Silk, I think the light from your window is not allowing us to see you well.
Okay. Can you see me now?
It's much better.
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay.
Much better.
Interesting.
Yes.
Wow.
Welcome everyone. I can see a lot of people on the call. Mrs. Amolola Ikwagu, good afternoon, ma. I'm happy to have you on the call. My partner Oluwatoyin is here, Mr. Noswazi. Happy to have you on the call. Deborah, happy to have you on the call. And I'm sure as more people log in, we may acknowledge them if time permits. So in another 1 minute, exactly 1 minute, we'll kick off.
Yes, okay, the private equity event happening in April. AYP is hosting.
Good afternoon, everyone. We'll be starting the webinar now. We would like to welcome all our participants and our guests for today's webinar. And this webinar is designed to provide valuable insights and guidance to legal practitioners who are aspiring the prestigious rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria. And today we have two eminent legal practitioners who will be sharing their stories and their experience through the process of attaining the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria. And we also have our host, Uchenna Akingbade, who will be moderating today's discussion session. So before we start, I'd like to just introduce what the Law Practice Series is all about. So the Law Practice Series by Sunesis DLP is an engaging web series. It is designed to provide practical insights into the diverse career paths and ensure the essential elements of the legal practice. This initiative offers aspiring and seasoned legal practitioners a platform to explore the realities of the various legal fields and to also gain actionable knowledge and navigate the complexities of the legal profession. Now, I would also like to introduce the brain behind this webinar. That's the law firm Sunesis DLP. We are a dynamic full-service law firm, and we have a dedicated team who are seasoned legal practitioners, and they offer legal solutions across the various aspects and practice areas. We have a particular focus in dispute resolution, corporate and commercial laws, and other aspects of law. And we ensure excellence and integrity in our services, and our mission is to provide efficient and effective legal solutions, evolving into a more formidable legal institute globally. And I would also like to introduce our host for today's webinar, Uchenna Akingbade. She's the managing partner at Sunesis DLP with over a decade experience in dispute resolution and corporate and commercial law. She is a notary public of Nigeria and also holds an LLB from the University of Just and an LLM from the University of Birmingham. Uchenna is a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators UK and a certified mediator by the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse. She serves on several boards and is a co-opted executive member of the Nigerian Bar Association of Lagos branch. She's passionate about criminal justice reform. She's also active in inmate rehabilitation and offers pro bono legal services. In her personal time, Uchenna enjoys spending time with God, her family, and her friends. So I'd like us to welcome Uchenna for to moderate the next session.
Thank you very much, Tomi, for the warm introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. To everyone who has joined and everyone who's still joining, say welcome again. Today's topic is one that interests me, and the speakers are dear friends of mine and mentors of mine who have also impacted on my legal career thus far. So sometimes when we discuss with people, I'd use the Leonard Seal guys on the call, first of all. So let me just segue into that a bit. I've had numerous discussions with him, and nobody has broken down how to take silk to me the way he has done. So I'm very confident that he's going to do justice to the topic of today. And I'd go ahead to introduce him. We actually have two learned silk who are going to be speaking today. One of them, Mrs. Titilola Akinlawon, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. She's going to be joining in a few minutes. So we'll start with Mr. Tochukwu Onyuke. Learned silk, are you on the call, sir?
No, I'm not. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Uchenna, can you hear me? Uchenna. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm guessing that Uchenna is having network issues, but we can hear you.
I'd go right ahead.
Okay, great.
I can hear you, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Can
hear
you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
So what happened? I don't know. Okay.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Okay. So I'll go ahead to introduce the speaker, the first speaker, Mr. Tochukwu Onyuke. Mr. Tochukwu J. Onyuke, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, is a distinguished legal practitioner with over 20 years of experience. He serves as a partner at Achendo Law Partners LP, a commercial law firm based in Lekki Phase 1, Lagos State. Firm specializes in providing professional legal advice and support to both domestic and international clients across various sectors. Mr. Tochukwu Onyuke is a widely publicized author with at least 30 contributions, 30 publications to the legal community, including 17 to 18 international publications, highlighting his extensive impact. Mr. Onyuke has contributed to the legal discourse. Some of his publications include Using Sheeted Funds for Infrastructural Development in Nigeria and Simple Agreements for Future Equity, an emerging trend in financing business startups, amongst so many other articles that he has published. In addition to his role at Achendo Law, Mr. Onyuke holds the esteemed title of Senior Advocate of Nigeria, reflecting his significant contributions to the legal profession in Nigeria. This is just an abridged profile. If I begin to read,
Hello.
Yes. So I thought you didn't promise.
What's going on here?
really so sorry. I'm really so sorry. I don't know what's going on with the network, but I've moved to another network, and I hope that this will be better. This is an abridged profile, which may not really have done justice to his extensive portfolio. But if we are going to go into the substance of the matter, then we have to keep it abridged. Leonard Silk, you are welcome.
Thank you so much.
We very much look forward to your contributions.
Thank you so much. Everyone is welcome to this program, and I thank the organizers. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, for the opportunity given to me to speak on this. I have been on one-on-one with a couple of people here as regards to the attainment of the rank of ASN. But I think I have to start with the fact that the first step in this is to search your inner self and to ask yourself, what actually do you want from legal practice? Do you just want to be a good lawyer without any rank, or do you want to be a good lawyer if you're a litigator with the rank of ASN, or you want to go on the bench? Either of the way, the watchword here is to do everything rightly. What I mean is doing everything rightly is in everything that you do, make sure you're doing the right thing, because at the end of the day, it helps. If you run your firm in a way that you think that you're getting along, you're not doing all the things you're meant to do, you're not paying your lawyers properly, you're not paying taxes for them, you're not paying pensions for them, you're not paying debt, life insurance for them, you're not paying any of this. At the end of the day, it is going to be more stressful for you by the time you be by the time you're ready to take care of your infrastructure. So I think the first step is for whoever that wants to attain the rank of ASN, both from the academic angle or from advocacy angle. Right now, you need to go and buy the 2002 guideline. That guideline came out in 2002, and this is the third year. In that guideline, it's somewhere written in that guideline that it shall be reviewed by the time it came out, they said they were going to review it in 4 years. So I reckon that by next year, that guideline might be reviewed to meet challenging, supervening sometimes circumstances that were not captured before the guidelines were made. So it is recommended that the way you read your law reports, or the way you read for exams, or the way you read for any other thing you want to do, it is recommended that you sit down and read that booklet. Yeah, it's not much, but it's much. I find out that a lot of people they don't read it, but they already set out in their aspiration for the rank. Then in discussion, you will now probably bring up something that he ought to know, and he will tell you he doesn't know it, and that he hasn't read the guideline. So reading the guideline is very, very important, So because that guideline is what will guide you in every step. I mean, in my own time, I think I was reading it every Friday. I read it, I'll read it and read it and read it. Now, after the guideline, you look at, there's what I call case analysis or legal analysis. Hello? Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir.
I just want to briefly I just want to briefly. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I want to briefly introduce the second speaker, Mrs. Titilawo Akinlawo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. She's joined the call. So we'll just have you run over for another 15, 17 minutes, and then she'll take over from there. So Leonard, I'm sorry, as at the time that you started, I was having network challenges, and it's a bit clearer now. I'd have loved this to have but you've already started, but when you finish giving us the guidelines, I'd love it to have like a storytelling approach where you can just give us your story in addition to the basic requirements that are needed.
Okay, all right, so I'll do that. Okay, so we've passed the stage of, because I just spoke about the guideline, which is also very important. You can't set out for this rank and expect to do all the things that need to be done properly without having a look at the guideline. Studying it is very important. Then you do, I'm sure Uchenna and I've told you about this a couple of times, legal analysis, the analysis of your cases. From the guidelines, we know, as it is today, 2022 guidelines, that you need 20 high court cases. The 20 high court cases should have geography spread and subject matter spread. And I would explain what that is. And 5 Court of Appeal, contested case of the Court of Appeal, and also 4 Supreme Court. So at the end of the day, you're expected to have done 29 cases across board, 20 High Court, 5 Court of Appeal, and 4 Supreme Court.
Yes.
Now, you're also expected to have come up with or to have done your pro bono matters. 3 of them. Those pro bono matters may or may not be a part of the 29. I mean, it depends on you. In my own time, I had the 3 pro bono matters different from the 29, or different from the 29, yes. So if you're, for those of us who are in Lagos, we have the challenge of cases moving fast, you know, and all that. So it is important that you look at your cases. And because the most important thing in this is, you know, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. I in my own time, I think that when I started having, you know, after I had said, okay, this is the time that I believe I'm going to apply. I think that was in 2012 or 2013. I said, okay, I should be applying for this in 2021. And so with 2021 in mind, all you need to do is just sit down, look at your entire cases across board. Especially at that time, you only needed seven high courts. And I remember that we were in the middle of it when the rules changed and 20 cases were required. So, but it is important that you look at your cases. Look at them and know which ones would yield result faster. Because the more you generate those judgments, I'm not saying that you go and rush into a case without doing the proper things you're meant to do. Of course, you have to study your cases. You have to do them well because it counts a lot. I mean, people who would look at your work, look at what you've done, they will look at your written addresses, they will look at your pleadings. These are all very important, you know. So, but the most importantly is knowing that you have a target. For someone like me who set a target for myself and I needed to meet it, I didn't leave it open-ended. I didn't say, okay, when I qualify, I didn't do it. I didn't do it in my own time. Well, I said I set a target, though I didn't meet that target at the end of the day because of COVID and all that. But that target helped me. So how did it help me? Because it helped me in such a way that I had so many matters in Lagos, but because I needed what they call subject matter spread. I saw myself beginning to pick 1 or 2 other pro bono matters outside jurisdiction, and so that it will complement the commercial matters I had in Lagos, and that actually also gave me a lot of experience. I was doing matters in Sokoto, Bayelsa, whatever. Just a few matters. Like I said, subject matter spread. So in 20, you expected, let's say you're in Lagos, you expected to have at least 9 commercial law cases, you know, cases that bother on, you know, maybe banking, intellectual property, blah, blah, blah. Then 2 or 3 on insolvency. If you're doing maritime, 1 or 2, then criminal cases, subject matter spread. So that would give your assessor the impression that, oh, he's very well-rounded. Let us not fall into the trap of having no cases, then traveling as much as Bauchi and Sokoto to come up with 20 criminal cases. Because if you're in Lagos and all the judgments you've submitted in the High Court are all from Sokoto or Bauchi, one thing is clear. Not having even met the subject matter requirement, it shows that you don't have any practice. So we need to
Leonard Silk, your audio seems to have gone off. We can't hear you. Okay, it's not just from my end. Your mic is muted, sir. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? I didn't
Yes,
know
we
that.
can hear you now.
Okay, so as much as the high court cases are usually neglected, people are running, oh, I don't have Supreme Court, I need to build my Supreme Court, and they neglect high court. As a matter of fact, I have a friend right now who has the Supreme Court. He has the Court of Appeal. He doesn't have the high courts. He doesn't have the high court. And high courts are very complicated because you're expected to do trials. You don't know the timetable of the judge. You don't know how busy the court is. And you know trials in Lagos can take as much as 1 year, 2 years, 2.5 years, and all that. So it is important that attention is given across board to high court cases, Court of Appeal cases, and Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is usually a challenge. So what do you do? My experience is that a commercial case that you've taken to the Supreme Court takes you at least 10 years. That is my experience. One of the cases that I used, which was the third case that I used in the Supreme Court, which later became a locus classicus, I wrote the brief in 2013. And I argued that brief in 2020. So 10 years. So how do you, that's why it's good to also start early. But if you haven't started early, how do you face that challenge at the Supreme Court level? So what do you do? And most people go and do pro bono cases, which would also be your METOP requirement for the Supreme Court, and in conjunction with your METOP requirement for pro bono cases. And but it's also important to also have a little bit of subject matter spread in that Supreme Court, so that you will not come up with 4 criminal law cases coming from Court of Appeal Akure or coming from Court of Appeal Sokoto. So if you can have, can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Yeah, so if you can have maybe 1 commercial law appeal in the Supreme Court, then 2 criminal, or 1, just the subject matter spread is always very important. So at the end of the day, it is one's decision, it is one's commitment, it is one's dedication to the race that matters. Because if you are dedicated to this race, the path to ACN, there are certain things you will not condone in court. A lot of things you won't condone. You won't condone tardiness from the other counsel. You will not condone unnecessary applications for judge for adjournment. So because these are the things that would impact on the final journey at the end of the day. Now, apart from these requirements that you need to meet, they say that when the equities are equal, the extras matter. So what I mean by that is, if you look at the rules, the guidelines talk so much about contribution to the development of law in Nigeria. If, from the advocate level, that everybody, let me give you a typical example. Everybody has, after the first and second filtration, like 48 people were shortlisted. Now, and people now go through interview. There are also very little extras that matter. In my own time, I come from Anambra State, a very competitive. At a point, we used to have like 15 or 16 advocates that apply for, that would apply for the silk rank in Anambra. And I noticed that. So what did I do? What I did was, I was lucky enough, I was doing some cases that bother on technology, fintech, trademark in cyberspace, copyright in cyberspace. So what did I do? I started writing articles on those areas of law, and not only Nigerian articles. I was writing international. I was writing for, and I'm still writing for them anyway, writing for the Computer and Telecommunication Law Review of Swiss and Maxwell. And I've written like 13 publications since 2023, and I'm still writing. But anyway, what I want to say is that at the point of my interview, when I submitted my CV, what got them intrigued was the amount of intellectual works that I've done around the world. Because I submitted 32 publications, and the ones that I had with the Computer and Telecommunication Law Review were published, or they publish it in 48 countries of the world. So it's very encompassing. That actually was what gave me contribution to the development of law. I had from the grapevine, I had 15 over 15. That gave me extra marks. So I wasn't now assessed only on my cases. Because if I had only, if they assessed me only on my case, maybe they could have given me 13 or 12 over 15. But because of those extra things that I did in law, that was what made me, I scored very highly, I think I scored at the end of the day, I think I did up to 96, I can't remember. But those things are very important. So as an advocate, you have to try to be a bit intellectual. So not only in court, but if you have your way, you can also do these things because they all add to your chances of becoming a SN, especially when some people have to be picked from all the shortlisted people, and they could tell you to wait till next year, blah, 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 blah. Now, coming down to the office, this is the one that is very, most challenging, because if you work in an office that you haven't been doing the right thing, at the end of the day, it will backfire on you. And how do I mean? When everything will so be right that you have to do them at the same time in preparation for office inspection. So I advise anyone who is interested in this rank to, from day one, you must make sure that your infrastructure is right. Please, 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 you must make sure that your lawyers earn properly. At least more than 170,000 naira a month. You must make sure that at all times you maintain at least 4 or 5 lawyers. It is required that you must have 5 lawyers. But I know that in practice, sometimes it's not possible because you see people leaving. And so, you could have 5 people, you could have 6, someone else will leave, they bring it out to 15, then it brings it out to 4, you now have to conduct fresh interviews and all that. But at every point in time, you must make sure that you have a certain number, at least 4. 5 is a requirement, because in my own office inspection, they asked me how many lawyers I had, and I had 5 at that time. So 5 is a requirement. Now, the welfare package of the lawyers is also very important. And these are the things that cost so much money. The health insurance, and these are things that they ask for chambers inspection, health insurance, and the life insurance, the pension, the taxes. You have to pay taxes for yourself, apart from yourself, but paying taxes for your employees, including your receptionist. What struck me was when they asked my receptionist during the office interview how much she was earning. They asked her how much she was earning, and then asked her whether she pays any tax. It struck. They also asked my librarian, because they expected to have librarian as well. So this is what I call infrastructure requirements, and that is for the office. So it is one thing to meet up the requirement, your Supreme Court, your High Court, your Court of Appeal, those ones in 6, 7, 8 years, if you're serious, you can go around it. If all things being equal, you can meet it. I had a target for 2021, but it was COVID year. So COVID came, and there are also what they call unexpected outcome in Supreme Court. Supreme Court is a place where you don't, for you, I mean, you should know that for the fact that a case has been listed in the Supreme Court doesn't mean it will be heard. Anything could happen to you at the Supreme Court. So, when you're going, you go with if you're Christian, if you're Muslim, you have to pray to your God for guidance, for favors, so that they will hear you. Anyway, the 2021 target that I set for myself didn't materialize, and it happened in 2023. But that underscores why the target must be kept. If you leave it open, it could take you 15 years. Another important thing in the office is the book infrastructure.
Interject. Sorry to interject. So
okay.
To just if you can wrap up your intervention.
All right. Okay.
Then we'll come back to it. So that
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, that was why I put part 1, because I know that there's so much to unpack in this session. So we'll just have you so that she can go into her own side of it.
Right.
And then
okay.
we'll come back to you, because I have questions, and I'm sure so many people have questions. We're just getting so many from you at the moment.
Okay. Okay, please. Okay, so let me just round up. I'll just talk about the book infrastructure, then my learned brothers can start. Please, you have to start early. You have to start early. What I did was that 20% of my income went on books. Start early to accumulate those books. Do not allow it till the last time. You will go crazy. Start early. I can tell you one thing for sure. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
I can tell you one thing for sure. In today's Nigeria, with the what we are seeing with our currency, apart from the law reports, the books that you will need in your office for inspection would cost as much as 20, 25, 30 million. So you just have to start early to do that. Let me leave it at that. Thank you so much. Let me leave it at that. Yes.
Thank you so much, Leonard Silk. We'll circle back to you very, very shortly. So I'll introduce our next speaker, Mrs. Titi Lawon, Mrs. Titi Akin Lawon, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Leonard Silk, are you on the call, ma?
Yes, I am.
Welcome, and I'm glad that you were able to make it in time. Thank you for being present. So I'll quickly read her bio, her abridged bio, and we can dive right into discuss. Mrs. Antonia Titilola Akinlawon, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, FCTI. She attended Egbadoyewa College, Ilaro, 1975. Methodist Girls High School, Yaba, 1971. University of Lagos, 1980. And she was called to the Nigerian Bar in 1981. She had her LLM from University of Lagos in 1983. Mrs. Titi Lawon started as a lecturer at the Kwara State College of Technology for her youth service. And then she was the pupil council at Wole Olanipekun & Co. Ilorin, 1982. Still national service. Then she became an associate at MI Jegede & Co. in 1982. From 1982 to 1996, she was an associate, and she became a partner at MI Jegede & Co. in 1997 to 2001. In the year 2001, she co-founded the law office of Akinlawon and Ajomo, and she was elevated to the inner bar in the year 2010. She's a member of the Nigerian Bar Association. She's a member of FIDA. She's a member of the International Bar Association, Chartered Institute of Taxation Nigeria, and Society of Women in Taxation. She's married to Anthony Oluseyi Akinlawon for almost 40 years, and she's blessed with children and grandchildren. Leonard Silk, you're welcome to call. Thank you so much for your presence.
Thank you very much. So, yes, so your question.
This is a very topical topic that we're addressing today, and we'd love to hear your story. What sparked your interest? How did you begin to aspire to take the rank of Silk? And some of the, obviously the requirements, the present requirements, I doubt that.
Very different from my time. Very, very different.
Sorry, Ma, and how you went about it.
Okay.
We can't see you, Ma.
Oh, okay. I put off my video. Okay. I've put on my video now. The journey is very interesting. I've always loved advocacy. I found out when I started out with the law firm of Woluola Nikweku & Co. He was the one that introduced me to advocacy. And I recall that during my NYSC, there was a trial in the magistrate court. And we were there preparing with another colleague, Femi Lijadu, and took us to court, left me in one court and told the magistrate that I will conduct the trial. And in conducting the trial, I found it very interesting. And this was particularly so because I won the case. The judge, the magistrate, discharged and acquitted the accused person that I was representing. So that really was my impetus to become an advocate. And when people ask me, what is your specialty? I say it's litigation, because of that basic experience that I had and the interest. Probably the fact that I was able to win the case was something that really invigorated me to remain in advocacy. And ever since, I've been in advocacy. The maritime lawyers, they will bring their cases to me when they want to go to court because they do not understand the jurisprudence of the courtroom. I do. How do I tender my documents? When do I tender it? What questions do you ask under cross-examination and the rest of it? You cannot read those things up in a book. You have to live it or experience it. So that's why I always say, when people ask, my specialization is litigation, end of story. Now, becoming Silk, that story is a long one. Some time ago, in year 2003, I was eminently qualified, but those days, it was completely different from now. That time, it was only the Supreme Court justices that determined who become. So they must be quite familiar with you. That is, you must have been appearing before them for them to know you well enough and what not. So this time, we were two women that got to the last level, and they were to decide. And they resolved that, okay, this is the first time a woman was coming from the Southeast that will get to this point. And older than I am, I'm a younger person that I will become when I will become, that they should just give it to the person from the Southeast. And I was really very pissed off, and I said I wasn't going to apply again. So I did not apply again, but some friends of mine who had kept telling me that if I want to remain in advocacy and I do not become a senior advocate, I'm going to regret it. Oh, indeed, I regretted that decision because there was a time a client of mine that have been my client forever got into politics, became a deputy governor, invited me over for a case, but the governor refused, that he only wanted a senior advocate. And they had to bring people that were junior to me at the call to bar, who had become senior advocates, to come and lead me in that. I mean, that was a wake-up call for me. So I knew that I really indeed have to go back to become. So I started, because I've always been in advocacy anyway, I didn't have much problems about cases. I'm always in court, so it's okay. I had all the cases ready. Maybe one or two Supreme Court then I become obsolete. The one thing I need to say, when my learned brother Silk was talking, all those number of cases, you are supposed to acquire them over 10 years. It's not within 1 year, it's over 10 years. So if you are looking at becoming now, you have to give yourself that 10-year span, that from today, 10 years time, I must have all my cases ready. And who knows, they may change the number of cases within the same period or something, but it's better to be focused. What I always say is that you must be quite intentional. You must be intentional. Like he said, like he emphasized, you have to be focused on the fact that this is what I want to achieve and pursue it with vigor. During my time, there was no need for any subject spread.
Am I the only one who can't hear her?
I couldn't hear her from subject spread. I couldn't hear.
Yes. Leonard Silk, we've lost you. Okay. While we wait for her to join the call, to join back, maybe she's having some network challenges. While we wait for her to join back, we're already, in as much as there were differences in her time and Leonard Silk Tochukwu's time, or the current requirements, but one major takeout that we can draw from both their contributions is that you must be intentional. You can't just wake up and take silk. There must be a high level of intentionality to it. You must set a target for yourself. And she's rightly pointed out that those cases that you need to acquire, you have to get them within 10 years. So in the maximum, the target you will set for yourself is 10 years. That's the maximum. So it can come lower than that, or, well, if you exceed 10 years, then you have to start again because those cases have a lifespan of 10 years. Then we'll just come back to you while we're waiting for Titi to join back. So, sir, I know that we cut you off at some point. If there's something I want to give, while I try to reach out to find out what's going on with her, so you can hold the call. Please join right.
Okay, so should I speak?
Please, sir. Please carry on. Let me try and
Okay. My learned brother said, I mentioned the right word for it. You must be intentional, and I agree with that entirely. The intentionality here is very key, and I must say that the 10 years requirement, they seem very long, but in litigation they're not long. And you know that's why you have to take some of the cases, not because they're giving you money. There were some cases that I took not because of money. No, I took them because of the experience I was going to get from it. I took them because I needed to have a lot of cases so that by the time I'm ready, I can now choose my best. You know, so I think in those 10 years, and let me even say that a couple of those cases had actually expired. There were cases I got in 2011, judgment that I got in 2011, judgment that I got in 2012. By 2023, when I was applying, the judgment expired, so I couldn't use them. Luckily enough for me, the 2022 guideline came with a lot of challenges. We were the first to have used it for the rank. So by the time they released it, it came with a lot of surprises. I was very lucky that I had the spread because I already had the practice in Lagos. But there were some people who were not as lucky as me who did not have the spread. So so that spread is very important. When it was time for me to choose the cases, I had 36 High Court cases to choose from. Wow. Remember, it was only 20 that I needed. When it was time for me to choose the Court of Appeal cases, I had 23 Court of Appeals to choose from. Remember, I only needed 5. Wow. You know, so when it was time for me to choose from the Supreme Court, I had 5 to choose from, and I only needed 4. So what did I do? I chose my best.
The best.
I chose my best of the best, and that's what I did. Now, and let me also say this. I tell people, so one of my friends who just applied, I told him last year, I said, can you just start early to to define all your cases. You know, if you've done 30 cases and you know, can you start early to make notes on all your cases? Because you're expected to talk on each of those cases on when you're applying, when you're applying online. You're expected to talk about them. And what are you expected to do? One, the nature of the case, whether it's criminal, commercial, banking. The second thing is issues for parties. You state the parties there. The third is issues for determination. You state it there. Then the fourth one is what is the relevance? What is the addition of this case to the development of law in Nigeria? This requires a lot of time and energy. This requires a lot of journey between your table. This requires a lot of journey between your table and your file room, because you're going to, I mean, some of those cases were cases that you did 7, 8 years ago. So, but you're going to get them. So you have to study each file to know what you're going to put down. So for me, I did that a year before I applied. When I was applying, all I needed to do was just to lift it from where I had summarized all my cases, and I was filling in the details online. So it was easy. We were expected to submit our forms on the 30th of March. I submitted on the 22nd. I was the second person that submitted from the whole country. Second person on the 30th of March. So, like my learner brother said, you must be intentional. And it is that being intentional that guides you in every facet of it, every phase of it, from your cases to your infrastructure to everything. It is being intentional. And my brothers, you have to save towards it. This is not, you need to save towards it. It is a resource-driven journey. It is capital intensive. It's like building a house. It requires a lot of money. So, but in 10 years, if you have 10 years is a lot. 10 years is a lot. So you must map out how you're going to spend your little savings in 10 years in preparation for this. I made up my mind to become a senior advocate in 2012. I got it in 2023. So it took me 11 years. And the standard, if you own your own law firm, if you're not, working for an Alukan or Yobode, or if you're not working for a 10+, if it is your own law firm that you own, I would think that what should be the average time of preparing for this is between 7 to 10 years. If you prepare very well between 7 to 10 years, I'm sure that you will get it within that time, or you get it. I'm sure that you'll be qualified to apply within that time or shortly after that time. So that is what it is. And one other experience that I had was the long wait was also trauma for me. That long wait, the long wait from March to when my own confinement list was finally announced on the 26th of October. It was traumatizing. It was a very long wait. And if you go and ask anyone who had done this in the past 4 or 5 years, they would tell you that in the year of application, you can't achieve much. And I can comfortably tell you that in that year of application, I didn't achieve anything. I didn't go to court more than 4 times in that entire year because I was preparing. I didn't. I went to Abuja at least 16 times for one thing or the other. So it is very intensive. So it's a year that you must prepare yourself financially, because when you're no more busy in terms of doing the work, going from court to court and everything, of course, now there will be a little bit decrease in the income. So you need to prepare yourself for it. But it is a very sweet journey. One of my experience, or my greatest experience from this journey, is that it made me a better lawyer. In trying to do my cases and to do them very well, it made me a better lawyer, because you're going to learn more, you're going to research more, then for me that went into the academic world, doing with, doing publications in International Maritime Journal, doing publication in computer and telecommunication journals. All these things were things that I learned from doing those cases here in Nigeria. So, and that's it. I wish everybody luck. It is a journey that is driven by intention. You can't have this journey driven by just practicing law, going to court and coming back and living by the day and telling and saying that, oh, what, I mean, when it would happen, it would happen. If you have that mindset, you probably will not get it to your 80 years. So, but if you want to get it at this productive age, you must be intentional about it. Thank you very much. I think Richenna is off. Let me call her. Does anyone have anything to say?
Thank you very, very much for your contributions. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I can hear you. I can hear
today's
you.
network is okay. I'm glad you can hear me now. Thank you for your insights. Unfortunately, Learned Safety is still struggling to log in.
Okay.
We're having some challenges here. So I hope, just one moment, please. Let me find out where she is on that.
Okay.
Well, the service you guys.
Hi, I'm sorry, Mrs. Akingbade. Can she hear me? Hello, Mrs. Uche.
Yes, please. I can hear you.
Okay, if you can hear me, please check your chat. I sent you a message on Zoom chat, so please check. Yes, please check it. All right, thank you.
Yes, we're working on it. Oh, okay. It seems there are a lot of, okay, some people want to make interventions. People's hands are up. They're not even giving me the chance to, to summarize. So maybe we should just dive straight into it, and then we'll now do a quick recap when some of the questions have been answered. So IK Yusuf will take you. Can you unmute yourself, please? Okay. While we are waiting for him to unmute himself, Ogechi Hekwazu will take you, ma. Please unmute yourself.
Good evening, Leonard Phil. Thank you for sharing your very wonderful and personal story with us. I just wanted to chip in, and congratulations once again. We're really proud of you and what you've been able to achieve in this profession. I just wanted to, I have vicarious knowledge, I would say, I'll just put it that way, about how tortuous this process is. And there's, for me, I think an area our colleagues seem to relegate or ignore is the issue of having a librarian and the accounting part of the process of preparation. If you could weigh in on these areas, I would love to hear from you to speak to it.
Okay. So let me. I want to be answering it.
Office inspection.
Yes. I want to be.
And library. Yes. Thank you.
Yes. I want to be answering it. Instead of just, let me just be taking it one by one. So, okay, thank you so much for this question. It is also part of infrastructure. I apologize that though I talked about librarian, but I didn't, show more light on it, throw more light on it. So, gentlemen, it is expected as part of your infrastructure that you're going to have a librarian. You need to get a librarian that will come and catalog the books. You will create. In my own time, what I did was I created a physical log of the books, a physical record of the books, and each of the books had a number and a code. It wasn't me that did it. It was a librarian who I hired for this purpose. I had a librarian that used to come in 3 times a week. That was here on the day of office inspection as well. So he came in and it took him 2.5 weeks to 3 weeks to do all he needed to do. I also create an electronic log. So apart from the physical books, you also need the electronic part of it. And there must be at least 2 computers in the library. And the computers must have all the record of the entire books and their codes. So let us even say All England Law Reports. You have 128 copies of all England Law Reports. Those each of them must be given a number. So all these would be in the software in the computer, and the librarian will have to know how to access it, because sometimes they tell you, like in my own time, they told me to bring 10 different books. In my own time, they told me to bring Cheating on Contract. They told me to bring Goff and Jones on just enrichment. They focused on the common law series in my time, and I remember that I produced like 9 or 10 of that. Then so in the midst of all that, the librarian would just bring this one. He would in display of how your library works. Your librarian will go to the computer and type the book, and it brings out the code and the particular shelf where the book is. The librarian goes there and brings it. So it is all a part of it. So that is the far I know about the library. You must have a librarian. Your books must be arranged properly in the way that law libraries are arranged. They're still there in my office. The way I arranged them, the librarian arranged them prior to the inspection. So that way I've kept to that. Now, very important, apart from these things, in the accounting department, you must have 3 years audited accounts. It is very important to have 3 years audited accounts. It is a part of the requirement at the second stage, where when you've been filtrated. Audited accounts has to be done by an auditor. In my own case, what I did was because you expected to have an accountant that you pay monthly. So I didn't hire someone that was paying monthly. I gave someone a contract, a 1-year contract, and told him that he should be coming in 2 times a week, sometimes once a week, to tidy up my accounts and all that. And that was what he did. He was also the person who did my audited statements, because I had to attach them after filtration. There's this second stage, so I had to attach them, and that second stage, that's before office inspections. That second stage is focused on what you have in the office. So these 2 things they work hand in hand. And I know. Then another important thing is, never you merge your conference room with your library. Don't merge it. They must be different. Your conference room, you must have a conference room, is a must. Then you must have a library, is a must. Don't merge. Now make sure you have your kitchen. Your kitchen is very important. And make sure that you have, there are certain small things that count, that I know people have been failed because of that. You have the water dispenser, you have the microwave, you have the fridge. You must have a proper office running. You have the trays, the coffee, all those things. You have to, as much as they're very little. They asked me to flush my toilet. They asked me to flush my toilet in my own time, 2 times. So, so your office has to be well prepared for it. Thank you.
Wow, very interesting. Thank you so much for that. But something that I don't know if you've addressed this when I was having network challenges, but I'll take you back a bit. What inspired you to aspire to this rank of senior advocate?
Well, I could say that it's mainly of a lot of things. I come from a home where I had an uncle, former Attorney General of Nigeria, in 1966. It was a Queen's Counsel. I didn't meet him as Queen. I mean, I was born in the 70s, so I couldn't have, but I grew up and saw him, and he was already ACN, became ACN in 1979. And my dad was a judge. He wasn't ACN. I looked at both of them, and I wanted to be like him. Maybe he had more money. Anyway, what inspired me was the fact that when I came back from England after my master's, I joined Anthony Diwe, SAN. And I watched him in his excellence. He's an excellent lawyer. And I watched him grow from strength to strength. And that growth was astronomical. And if you're an advocacy, you can't grow like that if you're not SAN. That is the truth. So I think that environment influenced me. And I left him in 2010 and set up my practice in 2011. I remember that after I set up my practice, 2 years after, a year after, I told myself, this is what I want. So I was in a room at that time. I started from one room, but I told myself this when I set a 10-year target for myself. And here I am. So that's it.
So, I mean, we can draw inspiration from anywhere. Majority of people on this call may not have had the liberty that you do. So whether it's your pedigree that is inspiring you, whether it is just
not what inspired me of late. As a child, yeah, that pedigree. But what inspired me of late was what I saw Anthony Diwe do.
So mentorship. Our last law practice series was on mentorship, and we spoke extensively on how the impact mentorship has on our careers as lawyers. And what you're saying now is that, witnessing Chief Idigbe in his excellence and all that, you took the cues from them and you ran with it.
Yes.
So it can be anything. It can be that you're exposed to, so tying it directly to what we did the last time. It can be that, it's your mentor that is inspiring you. It may just be that, okay, you've had the aspiration right from the get-go when you were called to the bar. It can be informed by anything, but you have to be focused. What I've heard from both of you, and also Ms. Akinlawo is still trying to join the call. Okay, okay. She has two of, no, they are not. They are not in the same vicinity, unfortunately. She's in Abuja, but we are working on it, and I'm hoping that she'll be able to join the call very shortly. I believe that will resolve the issue, and they are connecting her from the back end. So I hope that she can join soon enough. So please, let's just hang on. I'm hoping that she'll be here. So what I heard her say was she was put off by the process initially. We are working on it. We are working on it. We are working on it. The messages are dropping in the chat box. We are working on it. She should join the call soon enough. So she was initially put off by the process, but eventually. So what I've taken out from this is, if your path is advocacy, you are an advocate. You may do well to start planning, because she said she wasn't going to do it anymore, but a very close client of hers got into a position and was unable to use her because she hadn't taken the rank of silk. And that was what was her own propelling factor to push through at the end of the day. So plan, you have to be intentional. There's a lot that goes into it. Apart from your cases, what Leonard Silk has said is you can't just wake up and just be going to court and be coming back and expect that it's going to come to you, no matter how brilliant you are. So there has to be a lot of intentionality and focus. Focus. Set a target for yourself. In how many years do I want to get this? What and what do I need to get it? He has already told us what we need to get it on this call. You need to get your cases in order. You need 20 high court cases. You need 5 court of appeal cases, 4 Supreme Court cases. Some of those cases, whether in addition to or part of the cases, you need to have 3 pro bono cases. So it's not just, you also have to give back. That's also a requirement. Then your office, you have to start investing. So he has told us now that we need 3 years audited accounts. So assuming you're planning to take silk in 3 years and you have not started auditing your accounts, it means that's not going to be possible. We are still in February, so this is a good time to start getting your books in order if you have that aspiration. And I believe that everybody that is on this call, on this meeting, on this webinar should, okay, everybody that is on this webinar should have that aspiration, have been joined. So we need to start getting our books in order. We need to get our finances right, pension your staff. You also need to pay good remuneration to your staff because these are things that count. You need to have a minimum of 5 lawyers, support staff, receptionists, librarian, who know what they are doing. So from what I've drawn from what Leonard Silk said is that you can't package this thing. So you actually have to have started investing in it. It's not like you say, okay, they are coming for visitation in 1 month, and then you start packaging, you start bringing these people. It doesn't work like that. So you have to plan in advance and you have to start working towards it. Even the books, he has told us that to get books that can make you pass your office inspection, 20 to 30 million. That's a lot of capital investment. So you actually have to start working actively towards that if you have not. Audit your cases. He also said that. You need to audit your cases. See the ones that may expire by the time that you hope to put in. See the ones that would expire, may be expired by the time you hope to put in your application, so that you have an idea.
Merchant customer can properly communicated by password to the service user, provided that before any deduction, service user shall have 3 business days.
Okay, let me continue. So you have to be extremely intentional about it. And Leonard Silk has also said, it's not just about your cases. You also have to have made some intellectual contributions. He has published over 32 articles. Are we writing? Are we researching? What are we doing to contribute intellectually to the legal profession apart from our cases? Now, Leonard Silk, I think something that you didn't touch on, I don't know if you touched on it when I was having network challenges, but also what does contribution in terms of service to the bar have to do with taking the rank?
Okay, it's very important because it's also a part of the requirement. What is your contribution to the growth of the bar? Have you served in any committee? I mean, I remember I was in the editorial board of Lagos, the Lagos Bar, and I remember Uchenna and I think I met you in one of the, where we were in the organizing committee of one of the, was it Law Week or whatever? And for me, these two were the things that I did, but most importantly, apart from being a member of editorial board, I had published in NBA National. I have an article there. I have an article in NBA Oka branch. I have an article in NBA Lagos branch. So, I mean, for me, these were my contributions to the growth of NBA in my profession. In addition to my involvement in the committees and all that. So it is also a condition precedent that you must be involved in the growth of NBA. Which way you do it is your own discretion. You can decide to be sponsoring the meetings, weekly, monthly meetings. You can decide to involve yourself with the committees. You can decide to even publish in the journals. All these are instances of growth and contribution to the growth of NBA. Yeah. But it is because they asked me, so it is also a condition. It is also a condition. It is one of the things we're expected to do as well. Yeah.
Okay, so you have heard it. So you need to get involved in NBA activities just in case or not. Before I continue, is there anyone on the call who wants to? Okay, well, someone has dropped in the chat box saying, yes, you're practicing fees and branch dues. So that is extremely important. I know of people who, because of 1 year of practicing fee, maybe they lost, so they had to wait because it has to be consecutive. Leonard Silk, am I correct?
10 years consecutive, 10 years untampered, both branch and yes, 10 years uninterrupted.
So it is extremely important. At least thank God for the IT tools that the bar is now using. So at least you can find your receipts from there. So that's an improvement that can
Made
help.
it easier.
Yes, but this is a challenge that practitioners have faced in the past. You lose one receipt. Maybe if you're unfortunate and you lose the receipt of your 5th year, you have to start again.
Yes, just start again, yes.
So you must, even as there are apps for that, even as it is now digital, but it is important for you to download these receipts and keep them safe so that you don't start speaking any grammar on incomplete practicing fees and branch dues receipts. Someone on the call said, could Leonard Silk, Mr. Onyuke, speak to what he learned from Chief Idiwe, having been a direct protege of his?
Well, I learned a lot from Chief Idiwe, and most importantly is in-depth analysis of cases. In those days, when if we get a case, Chief will go and tell you to do SWOT analysis. What is the strength? You must identify the strength. You must identify the weakness of the case. And in every matter, from insolvency to banking to maritime, that we did. And the most important thing that I also learned from Chief, I remember Chief was widely versed, and let me tell you why. I know for sure that during the Pfizer brief, that part of the things that made them consider Chief was not only how Chief gave an in-depth analysis into the case and what was required to do in the case vis-a-vis his knowledge of the law and applications of the law to facts, but Chief went the business angle, and that's why it's good for a lawyer to think commercial. Chief started thinking about the reputational damage that case could cause to Pfizer. And Chief suggested that as they move forward, Pfizer has to bringing out some money to manage the press. And that was a brilliant insight. That was a brilliant way of handling it. And I think one of the reasons why they gave him that Pfizer case was based on that. So Chief Idiwe will tell you, Chief Idiwe will say he believes in knowledge. So, and he expects you as his junior to go extra mile to seek that knowledge. He invests, part of the things I learned from him as well was investments in books. And I shudder. I'm not scared of buying books. If you come to my office, there are some IT books that I bought for one book for $2,000-3,000, just a book. Yes.
Leonard Silk, sir.
Yes.
I apologize for interrupting.
Okay.
So the network is not permitting Leonard Silk, Titi Akina, want to join back, but I have her on the call, and she can just give us some closing remarks from my phone. I believe we can hear her. Leonard Silk, we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. My contention is that the Silk is not just about you. It's not for an individual. Yes, you will use it to elevate your practice, no doubt. But again, it has conferred on one position of leadership to correct and advise younger lawyers. I could see some people have turned the title is sealed into chieftaincy title, because they will get it, and that's the end of it. They just add it up with good appellation to their names, and that's the end of it. You never get to see them in the courtrooms. They're never around anywhere, and what have you. The whole idea is, one, to be able to show leadership by every conduct, not only in dressing, the way you address the court, the way you project your cases, the way you present your cases, and whatever, in all ramifications, you are just supposed to be a leader that you are. I can't be caught there not doing the proper thing, because I look at it that I have so many people looking at me and wanting to emulate what I do. So I have no choice than to do what is right always. So that would be my parting shots for now. But I hope there will be another opportunity for me to be able to say all the other things that I should have said. But for the network issue, I'm in Abuja, so I don't know, maybe that's it. I'm not in my office. So have a good evening.
Thank you so much, Leonard Silk. We are grateful for your contributions. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And yes, we would organize another one, and you would come and exhaust all that you had to say. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Uchenna, I want to answer. Someone just asked a question, which is very important, because I want to clear the air on this. It's also very important because I notice a lot of people just sit down where they are and form an opinion. And the person asked, politicized nature of how do you deal with the politicized nature of SANship? And I remember telling someone that this is one of the most transparent processes I've seen. Nigeria hasn't reached that process. And there's something that my learned brother said. My learned brother said, in their own time, it was Supreme Court. That's what he said. She said, in their own time, it was knowing Supreme Court justices, you might have appeared before them, blah, blah, blah. In this time, it's not about, it's a committee. It is indeed a committee. The process is not politicized in any way. You know why it's not politicized? Because each region has a quota. That's why it's not politicized. So I can rightly say at least 98% that it is one of the most transparent processes I've seen. And I give kudos to the Legal Practitioners Privilege Committee. They do so much work in trying to shortlist. Yeah, there are one or two failings here and there, but at the end of the day, it is very transparent. It's not politicized. You go for it, you go for it. Simple.
Thank you, sir. So that is, as a matter of fact, even before this person put the question in the chat box, I have it down because there are some myths about the rank. And this is one of them, when people will say, oh, this would give you a stepping stone, or, oh, you got it because of this and because of this. I argue with people sometimes and I say, this is not something that you can just wake up and get, or this is not just something that somebody can just come and say, oh, because you're my brother or my sister, then waive the requirements for you. So I think there needs to be a lot more awareness in terms of the process and how transparent it is, because there are a lot of myths surrounding the process. And you'd be surprised to know that some people would not even put in any effort because they'll say, oh, they already know the people that they want to give it to. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And I'm thankful to you for clearing this up. We have some other questions in the chat box, which I'll just read out quickly, and I hope that you can address. Mr. Femi Fajolu asked about tax clearance. He said, what about the tax clearance requirements? Did you speak on that, sir?
No, yeah. Tax, so for one thing for sure is you must have 3 years tax clearance preceding your year of application. So if your year of application is 2025, you must have 24, 23, 22. Now, please, I believe it is shooting yourself in the feet if an aspiring legal practitioner to the rank of ASN goes and pays tax of 150,000 in a year. As a matter of fact, they disqualified someone in in 2022 because he paid 42,000 naira tax. He paid 42, 38, and 20 something thousand naira. So as much as it is painful, you need to get a tax consultant. You need to get to the tax office yourself. Go there, tell them what your earnings are, whatever it is, remove money for books, remove housing, remove salaries. It could be that by the time you remove all these things, it could be that you're probably getting like maybe 6, 7 million naira a year. Then they tax you on that 6, 7 million naira. Every March, before March 31st, before or on March 31st, go and pay your tax. If you have paid for 2 years and on the 3rd year, you paid your tax on the 2nd of April, you start afresh. You start afresh. So your taxes must be on or before the 31st of March, and each year you must file your tax returns for the previous year. Why is it good to file your tax returns? So that by the time you're going to have tax clearance, because you're going back to them to say, please, can you give me tax clearance for these 3 years that I've paid tax? They will look at whether you file your returns. And if you have not filed your returns, they would reassess you. So maybe you paid like 290,000. They will say, okay, go and pay 400,000 naira for each of those years. So 1.2 million. They did it to me. They did it to me. So I got reassessed. Shortly before I submitted my form, I got reassessed and I had to go to bank to pay it. So why did I get reassessed? Because I forgot that I had to be doing my annual filing. So by the time I went for tax clearance, they reassessed me. So tax is very important, not only for the aspirant, it is also for the lawyers that work with the aspirant, the litigation clerk, the receptionist, all people that everybody, you must pay their taxes. That's it. Yeah.
Wow. So we're hearing it. This is further confirming that you can't just stumble on this round. You must be intentional. You must prepare. You must put all these things in order. I know that lawyers, we are notorious for not being tax compliant. So this is an area that you cannot scale through if you're not tax compliant. So we have more questions. Someone said, good day, my distinguished learned colleague. The learned senior silk has opened our eyes on how to prepare for the rank of senior advocate of Nigeria. And it was interesting indeed with the lectures. Give to serve as a guide to we aspiring to pursue the position of the rank of SAN. But the question is that the cases to be secured, judgment from either the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, and High Court, does it mean you must win the cases, or even if the judgment is against you, can it suffice? Thank you very much for the guidance.
No, you mustn't win the cases. Just do the cases well. Just do them well. When someone reads your written addresses or your appellate briefs, the judge should have the impression about you. Oh, he's a very good lawyer. So do your pleadings well, do your cases well. You mustn't win them.
Okay, thank you. Another person has asked, does changing from one MBA branch to another have any implication on becoming SAN?
So why change?
So let's assume you change, you move locations. Let's say you move from Kaduna to Lagos. So if you move from MBA Kaduna to MBA Lagos, and let's say you want to apply next year or you want to apply this year, would that have any bearing on your application?
No, it won't have any bearing on your application insofar as both MBA Kaduna and MBA Lagos give you recommendation letter.
So another question here is, okay, another person here, which says, dear Leonard Silk, Thank you for the very insightful session. Kindly clarify, sir, whether all the 20 High Court cases must be trial or whether they can be judgments on cases argued based on affidavit evidence, etc. In other words, what percentage of the cases must be trial, sir? And let me add to that, do they also consider cases that are settled by alternative dispute, alternative means, for example, at Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse, judgments that were entered through terms of settlement? I already know the answer, but let me add it since the question is already being asked.
Okay, then let me answer the first question. Okay, so what I did was that I used 18 trials, and I used 2 cases on affidavit evidence. I always like to advise that you must at least put 18 trials. I mean, affidavit evidence, yes. So it is not a must that all your cases must be trials, but it is advisable. It is advisable that most of your cases should be trial. Then, so you can do 17.3, you can do 18.2, but don't do 15.5, don't do 15.5, yes. So the second one is, what did you ask, Uchenna? You asked, what's the question?
Are cases that have been resolved via...
Oh, okay. So there's no provision for that. There's no provision for that in the guideline. There's no provision for cases that were resolved by mediation. The provision is strictly for contested cases. Now, at the Supreme Court level, if you need 4 Supreme Court. So if you've done a case, if you've done 3 cases from the High Court to the Supreme Court, they're enough. You don't need 4 Supreme Courts. So if you've done 3 appeals, you did them at the High Court, you did 3 of them at the High Court, you did 3 of them at the Court of Appeal, you did 3 of them at the Supreme Court, you can apply. You don't need the 4th Supreme Court case. Now, there's also a provision. If you have a Supreme Court case that has been in the Supreme Court for the past 8 or 9 years and you settle, that can form a judgment for you. Yeah. So that will form a judgment for you. Now, the evidence that what they want to see is your participation. If it is trial, you must conduct trial, both examination in chief and cross-examination. You must also do the adoption of written address. You must not come for judgment. But these are, you must conduct the trial. You must do cross-examination. You must do examination in chief, and you must do adoption of written address. Yes. So that's it.
Excellent, sir. Okay, so we are guided. Someone said, Leonard Silk, should the case be from start to finish?
No, you just get involved in the adoption, the trial itself. Yeah, but you must author all your court processes. You must sign your court processes from writ of summons to statement of claim to written addresses. You must sign them. To appellant brief of argument, to respondent brief, you must sign them. Then I also advise people. I have a friend who has met all the requirements, but he couldn't apply. And do you know why he could not apply? Because when I warned him 2 years ago to start applying for record of proceedings, he didn't listen to me.
That was my next question, or that was the next thing that
he didn't listen to me. Now, some of the files are missing. Some of the judges have died. So he cannot apply. He's starting afresh to build some of those cases.
So if I'm going to write on what you just said, so what you would advise us to do is that as soon as you get a judgment, apply for the CTC.
As soon as as soon as you get the judgment, apply for CTC of the record of proceeding, CTC of your writ of summons or statement of defense. If you're a plaintiff, apply for yours and apply for the defendant. So you must have both, not only your own. If you're a defendant, apply for the plaintiff. You must have both. At the Supreme Court level, you must apply for your own notice of appeal or their own, then apply for appellant brief and their own, then judgment. These are things that you need. Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. I think this question has been answered already. Please, my learned silk, shed more light on the issue of the cases secured from either the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, and High Courts must be contentious cases. Okay, shed more light on what you mean by they must be contentious cases.
There must be contested cases. So, there must be statement of claim, defense, final written trial, final written address, judgment. At the Court of Appeal, appellant brief, respondent brief, argument, judgment. So they must be contested. At the Supreme Court, one of your cases must not be contested. It might be settled. Yeah.
Okay. Then I think I've touched on all the questions that have been asked here. I think the only one is someone said, please let us throw more light on separation of library from conference room.
Yeah, that's very important. I know a couple of people who scored very low and ended up being, they didn't meet the cutoff. I think sometimes, I think that cutoff that year, I think it was like 96 or 95. And someone was getting 92. The problem with this is that half mark matters a lot. Half. They grade you on contribution development of law, your cases, MBA activities. So they grade you on everything. Contribution development of law has 15 marks. Your subject matter spread and geography spread, it has 15 marks. So they grade you on everything. Now, they also grade you on office. Why after office attachment, some people are dropped? I'm sure a lot of people wonder. When they do the first list, you see some people's names there. People will call them and congratulate them. Now, by the time the second list is coming out, a lot of names would have been dropped. People would ask me why. The reason is that those people didn't make office inspection. The irony of it is that if I said they didn't make office inspection, one would think that they scored 9/15. They didn't make office inspection. I can tell you someone who scored 12.5/15 and failed, didn't make the office inspection. That year it was caught at 13.5. So that's why it's not good to leave anything. Everything you need to do, especially at that office inspection, make sure you do it. Because if you score 13 and they caught at 13.5, you failed. And that explains why people don't make the second list. It is that office inspection that fails people. Thank you,
sir. And then this may be our final question. So because we've already overshot our time, Judith Ojobo is asking, does High Court in this context refer to both Federal High Court, State High Courts, National Industrial Courts, given their concurrent jurisdiction in certain matters?
Yes, it does.
It does.
I used 3 industrial court cases.
Silk, I want you to speak briefly on the character aspects, because they would say you must be a person of good reputation, fit and proper. How does that play in?
Go
ahead, guys. Go ahead. Get the question already.
You just try and be as straightforward as you can, and be transparent. What I mean by
there are public calls. When they do those public calls and they say members of the public should write if they have any objections to this person being appointed at Silk. What are some of those things? I heard some stories, but to your knowledge,
some of those things will be written by people we've had problems with in the past. So that's why if you're gunning for this run, make sure that, in fact, when you see trouble, run. When trouble is coming, run. And let me tell you, I was appointed shortly before I applied. I was appointed a receiver in a family property where they were different interests and they were antagonistic. It was unhealthy for me. I said, these people will put me in trouble. I resigned because of my application. So when you see, because when you see trouble, you will know. If you go and delve into a family property where they have like 17 people in the family and they all don't agree, oh, what does that tell you? Those people can finish you. So when you're doing this application, try as much as possible to be just be yourself. Don't get into things that could expose you, things that could put you out there. Someone will begin to write something against you. Don't do all of that. As a matter of fact, 2 years before I applied, I didn't go to Facebook.
What could have been on Facebook?
But you don't know what you will say. You don't know what you will say. Do you understand what I mean? You don't know, you can't discuss politics there. Go and say you hate P2B or you hate Tinubu. You're finished. so you need to be very strategic.
Yes. And even for those of us who, update stuff on social media, you post things.
The best
Really intentional
about if you're intentional about this rank, you must avoid social media. The only thing I used to say on social media was happy birthday. That's it. Yeah.
Well, Aisha, we will not take this your final advice on with caution, because so many different things when we are talking about how to grow our practices. People have different opinions. So let's just say, be careful of what you put out there. Don't say avoid, because people me avoiding social media will just go and sleep.
No, be careful. You can do things, law related, but be careful of what you put out there. Be careful about what you say about politicians. Be careful about what you say about our judiciary. Those things are very important. Remember that during the time, I can tell you one thing for sure. If you go and ask the activists, people like Michael Zokome, people like Femi Falana, if you go and ask them whether their activism played a role in their getting the silk later, they will say yes. They will say yes, it did play a role. Yes, it did. I got denied because of this. So it's expected.
Very well. You're poured out into us so much. I think we've run out of questions on the chat box and we've overshot our time. Wow, this has been such an insightful session, but we already knew that we may not be able to unpack. Yes, we've gotten the basic directions, the guidelines, but also part of the intentions behind the law practice series is for us to hear the stories practically, things that we can relate to, things that we can understand, let it not just be technical or academic. Leonard Silk has done justice, and even the personal aspect of your stories. For example, I've said this already, Leonard Silk T. Akinlawon, she gave us her own personal story. She had countenanced the process, and because of losing her client when she knew she had the capacity to deliver on that work, but her client didn't give her the job because someone else needed a silk. So there are different things that we want to draw. Different things that we want to draw from this web series, your stories, how to go about it. So because of that, there will be a part 2 of this web series. We'll bring other people on board to come and tell us their own stories, and hopefully we'll be able to pick 1 or 2 things from their stories that will inspire us. Leonard Silk has done immense justice to the topic already. And so if I can I will do a quick recap, but before I do a quick recap, I'd invite my partner, Oluwatoyin Asada, to give us a vote of thanks, and then I'll do a quick recap and the closing remarks on what Leonard Silk has said. Toyin, please, are you on the call?
Yes, I am. A very good evening to everyone. I hope you can all hear me.
We can hear you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. It's been such a wonderful, wonderful time. I'm so grateful that this initiative has started and it's running already because so much insight have been shared, so far. I want to say a very big, big, big thank you to the Leonard Silks for their time. Mr. Tochukwu Onyuko, SAN, we are so grateful for your openness and how detailed you've been in sharing your story, sharing your perspective, and in being very real with us regarding the realities and practicalities of what it takes to be, to attain that position of being a Leonard Silk. And we also want to say a very big thank you to Mrs. Titulola Akinlawo, SAN, even though, the network, hindered our contributions to an extent, but we want to appreciate her dexterity in ensuring that she still made her voice heard in spite of everything through a call via Uchenna's phone. So I want to say a very big thank you. Today has been such an insightful one, and it gives everyone something to think about. There are things that we never even averted our minds to. And when you think about the fact that even the fact that your toilet facilities, are part of the infrastructure they look at. So it shows that it's all in the details. So it's not only about the number of cases and the number of Supreme Court cases, High Court cases that you have. That's where a lot of us put our minds to first. But it's from the similar little details to the to the very big ones. And it all also boils down to the fact that we need to start now. I would even say that any lawyer who aspires to be an SAM or start from after course bar, in my opinion, because it takes time. So you build it gradually, make your mistakes and learn on the journey. So thank you so much to everyone who has joined us as well, to all our colleagues at the bus, our learned seniors, our learned colleagues, our learned juniors. Thank you so much for being on the call, and we hope that you are living today, with so much value. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. You're coming.
Leonard Silk, any final words from you, sir?
Well, the final word, is that if you start in time, like the way I started in time, it reduces the well, I don't want to say trauma, but it reduces the tension that comes with it. Yes, I had my own experience, in terms of my physical well-being in 2023 when I was waiting for the results, so I ended up in the hospital a lot of times, and the doctor was, is there anything that is worrying you? I probably didn't know it was it was the result that was worrying me, but whatever I felt between that's why I said the trauma is a long wait, it's that long wait, It's just like, when you've done so much and you're now waiting for the result, that long wait is the trauma, So, but whatever I felt ended on the day the first list was released, So what I advise everybody is start early, so that you won't break down, so that you won't break down. One of the things that I noticed about this thing is that in the Supreme Court, I had a 66-year-old guy, whose appeal wasn't heard that day. He came out and started crying. He started crying because for him, it was already late for him. And having to wait another year, he'll be 67. And I also know of his story who told one of the Supreme Court justices that I'm already 69 and I'll be 70. Give me this thing while I'm alive so that when I reach heaven, I will know what to tell God. If God asks me, who are you? I'll say, my name is Tochukwu Onyuke. God won't be impressed. But when God asks, who are you? So my name is Tochukwu Onyuke. He goes, okay, you did well. So that's it, start early. That's my last word. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank
all
you
right,
so much.
okay.
All recap. The recap has already happened. So no need to say too much. Start on time, be intentional, pay attention to details. Quick recap of the requirements. You have said that we should go and buy the guidelines
Yes, 2022. Yes.
Anybody that wants to take the rank, go and buy the guidelines. I believe you can download it online. Go and download it, read it. Leonard Silk has said, let it become your Bible. Everything that you need to know is in there. And you've gotten further insights as to how to go about additional things from this call. So 20 High Court cases, 5 Court of Appeal, 4 Supreme Courts. Those cases have to have a good geographical spread. So let your cases not just be from Lagos. They also have to have a good subject matter spread. So let your cases not just be criminal, they have to be civil, there has to be a bit of this, a bit of that. I know that we are encouraged to niche down, specialize, but while we are doing that, like Leonard Silk and Titi Akinlawan said, when somebody asks her what her area of specialty is, she'll tell them advocacy. So if you're in advocacy, you can touch on anything because that subject matter spread will also be helpful to you. Please write articles and get involved in the MBA because your leadership of the MBA will also help you, and be a person of good standing, good character. Whatever you're doing, be intentional, have the goal in mind, even if you say you don't want to. Titi Akinlawan told us how she wasn't interested initially on, she had written it off initially and then she came back. So you may not want to today, but next year you may be interested. So put yourself in good standing so that when you make up your mind that this is what you want to do, you can run with it without any disadvantages. So with that, I think I'll just say thank you very much, Leonard Silk. Thank you for providing us with your presence. Thank you for pouring into us. Thank you for your invaluable insights. Thank you for everything that you've shared with us, because this is a breakdown that we don't hear often. And that was why we took the initiative to try and bring distinguished personalities to come and break it down for us, and we'll still do another one so that for those who were unable to join this or those who want to learn more, you'd be able to join the next one. So the Law Practice Series is a monthly series. We organize it every month. It's ideally supposed to be on the 3rd Monday of every month. So keep a lookout. If for some reason we are unable to do it on the 3rd Monday, it must happen every month. So the part 2 of this Path to Silk will be next month, that is in March. Thank you so much for everyone who's taking their time out on a busy Monday morning. We know that it cannot be easy. We all have so many things that we need to do, but one thing is a constant. We must continue to open ourselves to learn. We can never know too much, and we must always draw from people who have walked the path ahead of us so that we can have an easier journey if possible. So thank you so much to everyone who has joined. Thank you. And I hope that you all have a blissful...
Thank you. God bless you. God bless all. I wish everyone luck. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the people here make the rank of SAN in due time. Thank you so much.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
you
you
to everyone. All. So I can see so many of my friends that joined, even though they are leaving. How do I start to call all the people that are here? See Musa, Chidera, Chinyere Ogochukwu, Christieze, Ekanem, thank you. Mr. Fudge, thank you for joining. Halima, thank you. Hassan, Hyginus, Ike Yusuf, Ibrahim, Lawal, thank you for joining. My big sister, Mrs. Omolola Ikwagu, thank you for joining, Ma. We look forward to celebrating with you soon by God's grace. Stella Dike, Tonye Ogundoju, Udwaka Fia. Thank you so much to everyone for joining. Thank you, and look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you, Leonard Silk. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, bye.
Bye. Take care, everyone. Bye.